Big news, Steelers fans. TJ Watt just delivered a significant announcement to the team. What started as normal contract talks has escalated into a major issue, and it could change everything for the black and gold. Here's the shocking reality. While the Steelers publicly claim they want to keep their defensive superstar, they're quietly making phone calls around the league to gauge his trade value. That's right. The same organization insisting they have zero intention of trading Watt is simultaneously doing their due diligence on what they could get for him. Let's start with what TJ Watt actually wants and why it's so important for the Steelers front office. Watt isn't just asking for a raise, he's demanding to become the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. The numbers are staggering. According to reports from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Watt's camp is targeting a 4-year, $168 million extension with $126 million guaranteed. To put that in perspective, this deal would surpass Jamar Chase's 4-year, $161 million extension that averages $40.25 million per year. But here's where it gets really interesting. Watt wants to beat everyone. His projected deal would edge out Myles Garrett by $2 million annually and crush Chase's guaranteed money by over $16 million. Radio host Andrew Filipponi broke down the potential contract. 4 years, $168 million with $126 million guaranteed. That's a little bit more than Garrett. Currently, Watt sits as the 7th highest paid pass rusher at just over $28 million per year, nearly $12 million less than Garrett's market-setting deal. For a player who was briefly the NFL's highest paid defender back in 2022, that ranking stings. The market reset began when Cleveland made Myles Garrett the game's highest paid pass rusher with his 4-year, $160 million extension earlier this offseason. Garrett's deal pays out $40 million per year and briefly made him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history before Jamar Chase surpassed him by $1 million. Now Watt wants to reclaim his throne, and he's not backing down. But Pittsburgh isn't exactly rushing to open the checkbook. Despite having the cap space to make Watt the NFL's highest paid defender, serious concerns are mounting about whether this investment makes sense. The 2024 season revealed some troubling trends. Watt's 11.5 sacks represented a significant drop from his 2023 total, 7.5 fewer sacks to be exact. Even more concerning was his late-season disappearance when the Steelers needed him most. During Pittsburgh's devastating 5-game losing streak to close out the season, Watt managed just 2 sacks. In the final 3 games of the regular season, he was held completely sackless. The playoff loss in Baltimore, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits, 0 impact on the stat sheet. Watt turns 31 in October, and Father Time appears to be catching up. He posted his lowest full-season sack total since 2021, excluding injury-plagued years. The late-season fade particularly stings in his final 5 regular season games. Watt had just 2 sacks. Despite leading the NFL in forced fumbles with 6, those 11.5 sacks were his lowest since his rookie year when you exclude the injury-riddled 5.5 sack 2022 campaign. For a player demanding to become the highest-paid non-quarterback in history, that production raises red flags. The Steelers watched their season collapse from a strong 10-3 start. They fell from the division lead as they lost their final 4 games while the rival Ravens won their final 4. In both the regular season finale and the playoff loss in Baltimore, Watt failed to add a single statistic to the box score. Here's where the story takes a dramatic turn that nobody saw coming. According to multiple reports, the Steelers are quietly exploring what they could get for Watt in a potential trade, despite publicly insisting they want to keep. Mark Kaboly, the Steelers correspondent for The Pat McAfee Show, initially reported that Pittsburgh hasn't looked into possibly trading their star pass rusher, but then came the bombshell reversal during his appearance on 93.7 The Fan.
Are you just saying they are obviously inquiring to see what that might be. If it gets to the point where it's a point of no return, maybe that second-round pick all of a sudden becomes very
Well, you just said something else interesting.
handsome.
They're inquiring about what the price for him might be in a trade?
Wait, did he just say second-round pick for TJ Watt? The harsh reality of Watt's trade value is brutal. Kaboly didn't sugarcoat it.
I mean, if you're shopping him just to see what the return might be, okay, you're probably not going to get as much as you think you're going to get, right? I mean, if you can get a second rounder, you'll probably be lucky, I think.
The reasoning is simple math. Watt's age, 31, combined with his massive contract demands, severely limits his market.
I mean, it might be a George Pickens third rounder. He is 31.
But
he
the
does
Steelers
want
gave up a
120.
second. The Steelers gave up a second and paid Metcalf. You don't think a team would
It's
give up a second?
probably where it would be, and I don't know if they would do that or not. I don't know if the Steelers view that worth going down that route. Of
Wait a minute. I'm shocked you're saying I don't know if they would.
Kaboly added, highlighting how age impacts trade value in today's NFL. But wait, there's more confusion. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported that teams have mulled the idea that maybe they would approach the Pittsburgh Steelers about a trade. Schefter emphasized that the Steelers have zero intention of trading him, but something has to give. Then came Schefter's pointed observation. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, we want to keep this guy that badly, and then be far apart in the contract. So what's really happening here? The contradictory reports suggest something deeper is at play. This could be pure manipulation, a high-stakes poker game where both sides are trying to gain leverage. One possibility, the Steelers have reached their breaking point and genuinely see no path forward except a trade. Another theory suggests this is a calculated pressure tactic. With both sides hunkered down waiting for the other to balk, trade talk could be Pittsburgh's attempt to win back negotiating power. Mark Kaboly himself acknowledged the strategic element.
I'm sure that's due diligence there at this point, right?
But he also warned against reading too much into it, calling it the team's way of covering all bases. The timing is suspicious. Teams around the league have been calling to inquire about Watt's availability, but Kaboly maintains that the Steelers have not made any such calls themselves, yet somehow they're getting detailed information about his trade value. With training camp starting July 23rd, less than 2 weeks away, the pressure is reaching a boiling point. Initially, everyone expected Watt to attend camp while negotiations continued, but even that certainty is now in question. Kaboly's confidence has wavered dramatically.
So you must have gotten information that made you feel like it's not a done deal anymore.
I was hell-bent, absolutely certain that he was going to not hold out of training camp. After a piece of information has been passed along, maybe I'm wavering on it a little bit now.
Okay.
What information changed his mind? Kaboly won't say, but it's significant enough to make him reconsider his rock-solid prediction. The historical precedent offers some clues. In 2021, Watt staged a hold-in during training camp. Hadith would be attending but not participating in on-field work. This strategy avoids mandatory fines while still applying pressure. That negotiation didn't resolve until just 3 days before the regular season started. Kaboly later clarified on social media, even so, there is no anticipation for Watt to hold out when camp starts on July 23rd, and there has been no inquiries made to other teams about trading him, according to sources. But the conflicting reports create more questions than answers. How can there be no inquiries made when the same reporter discussed Pittsburgh gauging trade value just hours earlier? The contract negotiations have hit every possible roadblock. According to Kaboly, length of deal, guarantees, and total value, basically everything, to some varying degrees, are the sticking points right now. That's not the sign of a deal close to completion. When every major aspect remains unresolved, you're looking at fundamental disagreements about value and structure. The guaranteed money appears to be the biggest obstacle.
TJ probably wants too many years guaranteed, and they don't want to guarantee him that much amount of money.
But reaching that happy medium is proving elusive. Kaboly acknowledged the potential for things to deteriorate.
The question is when, and if there's any feelings hurt leading up to that point. Does he show up to training camp? Does it get ugly? I mean, do they shop him? Or anybody interested? Can they get any returns? So a lot of things can happen over that span that could turn this ugly. But
the proposed $168 million deal isn't just dividing the front office, it's splitting the fan base down the middle. When radio host Andrew Filipponi polled listeners about supporting such a massive contract, the results were telling. 52% of those who voted said no, while 48% said yes. That near-even split highlights the impossible position the Steelers find themselves in. Half the fan base balks at the price tag. The other half fears losing their defensive centerpiece. The concerns are legitimate. Watt's age, recent performance decline, and massive financial commitment create valid hesitation, but his career resume, 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro, former Defensive Player of the Year, argues for rewarding excellence.
What did he? What's up? Right! What's up? But still I can't afford to let these niggas stay close, stay close. God. Open the left. Keep the left closed. Like a song to 50. I got a couple pairs. But now, what's that? Need a new safe cause I'm running out of this bitch all of my photographs. Right. Everybody running things. You hit a motherfucker. Hey, I was just talking. 7%. Right. What is? What's that? Right.
Why is one of college football's biggest stars stuck at the bottom in Cleveland? Shadur Sanders ran up a hill in Miami, sending a message to the league. But back with the Browns, he's not even getting first-team reps. Fans are furious. Insiders are warning he could be cut. And rumors of another quarterback draft pick in 2026 have people asking what is really going on with Shadur Sanders. Every quarterback in Cleveland's camp has a chip on their shoulder. Yet for Shadur, it's more than just proving his arm. It's about proving himself. Drafted in the 5th round at number 144. 4 months after being projected as a first-rounder, Sanders landed amid a quarterback logjam. 5 signal callers drafted or acquired in one off-season. Now, the media and fans alike question whether he's here to lead or just to be cut. Enter podcaster Big Snacks, demanding the Browns fire the entire front office if they draft a quarterback in 2026. Why? Because drafting Sanders, Gabriel, and acquiring Pickett on top of Flacco shows no coherent plan. Instead, it's perceived as confusion disguised as strategy. If Sanders is the team's top 2025 quarterback, why waste picks on another one next year?
There is no doubt that Shadur is the best quarterback that they've drafted. There's no doubt that going into this draft that Shadur Sanders was the best quarterback, regardless of where he was drafted.
This tension amplifies every training camp rep or lack thereof Sanders gets. With no first-team reps yet, concerns are mounting. Analyst Chris Carter says sticking with Flacco now is a huge problem, while critics warn that unless Sanders emerges in camp, he'll be cut before the Browns ever draft again. Why? Because Cleveland isn't just deciding the starter, they're deciding the franchise's future. And if Sanders isn't the answer, the Browns will use their top picks on a fresh face in 2026. Shadur Sanders is no ordinary rookie. At Colorado, he threw for over 11,000 career yards, earned the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, and rewrote school record books. In his final year, he completed 74% of passes for 4,134 yards and 37 touchdowns. His legacy is etched. Jersey retired, record-setting season, college football icon.
Can Sanders and the Buffaloes pay it off? Here's Sanders looking. Sanders winding up. He's got him in. Touchdown!
Walking up to Lambeau Field, few expected him to fall past round 1. Yet Sanders slipped to pick 144 in round 5, despite comparisons to Tom Brady and talk of potential $20 million contracts. His slide sparked widespread commentary and even attracted a prank call from someone impersonating an NFL GM. Upon arrival, Sanders joined a quarterback room overflowing with experience and promise. Joe Flacco returned on a 1-year, $13 million deal. Kenny Pickett arrived via trade. Dylan Gabriel came in round 3. Deshaun Watson remains, though injured. Sanders knows his ceiling. Starting may mean emerging from QB4. Big Snacks doesn't mince words. Spending picks on Sanders, Pickett, Gabriel, and then considering one more in 2026 is a mockery of strategy. He insists the entire front office must be fired if they draft another QB next summer, calling it wasted draft capital and false hope. Skip Bayless chimed in. What a mountain Shadur Sanders is going to have to climb. Despite early hype and jersey sales, the NFL hierarchy hasn't convinced Cleveland to elevate him yet. Chris Carter agrees. Naming Flacco the starter is a huge problem, as rookies like Sanders deserve on-field reps to validate development. With no first-team snaps to his name, Sanders is watching others take reps he might have earned. Meanwhile, the Toronto Argonauts place Sanders on their negotiation list, giving them first dibs if he returns to Canada, though it's unlikely he'll go that route. The move signals backup options, but also raises eyebrows. Cleveland managing a roster heavily populated with quarterbacks and not giving them all time. Sanders intensified training in Miami with his longtime coach, wearing down on hills, ignoring critics. Cam Newton endorsed his mindset. You'll always be hated. Stay locked in. But without roster movement, effort alone won't change depth charts. Brian Sleep, the Browns' 1979 MVP, urges giving rookies a fair shot in Cleveland's soon-to-arrive $2.4 billion domed stadium. However, insiders indicate team leaders are already backing Flacco as the Week 1 starter. Joe Flacco remains the main starter with veteran clout. Kenny Pickett brings trade acquisition upside. Dylan Gabriel is a third-round rookie who has been strong in camp. Shadur Sanders has had no reps yet and sits on edge. Deshaun Watson is filling a season-long mentorship role.
We've got breaking news out of the NFL where the Cleveland Browns are trading for Eagles backup quarterback Kenny Pickett.
Having 4 QBs is rare. Cleveland risks developmental stagnation across the board. With training camp set for July 25th, followed by preseason that starts August 9th, Sanders needs reps, not for hype, but to showcase readiness. Sports Rush analysis reveals Browns are eyeing 2026 quarterback prospects like Arch Manning, Fernando Mendoza, Cade Klubnik. If they're planning to draft one, it means Sanders or Gabriel would be cut before then. That sets a ticking clock for both rookies. Prove you belong by the end of 2025 or else. Chris Carter and Cecil Shorts. The third voice frustration, no first-team reps signals lack of investment. Without meaningful reps, how can Sanders improve or showcase skills? It's not about talent, it's about opportunity. Carrying 4 QBs limits space for receivers, linemen, and depth. Fans worry picks used could have strengthened the line or weapon core. If Cleveland still drafts in 2026, those earlier picks were wasted. Shadur isn't just any rookie, he's Deion Sanders' son, and that carries media glare. Dave Portnoy called the Browns slide a worst-in-history move. Some scouts criticized his attitude during interviews, and public perception plays a big part in opportunities. Each quarterback entering camp means fewer reps per QB. Teams usually keep 2 signal callers. Cleveland is risking stagnation by spreading reps thin. Retaining top picks in 2026 is smart to build around a quarterback if you don't already have one, but if Sanders or Gabriel emerges, trading a pick becomes the logical high-upside option. The timeline is clear. Steelers start training July 25th, open preseason August 9th. Sanders must make every rep count. One glance, one drive could elevate him ahead of the pack. Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry need to clarify who is visioned as quarterback 1, quarterback 2, quarterback 3 in 2025, and is that plan tied to future picks? Will they stick with their players or use picks to pivot? Deshaun Watson, mentor on and off field, can bridge the experience gap, helping quarterbacks make NFL reads and cope under pressure. The Browns hold 2 first-rounders in 2026. If they draft a QB, then thousands of fans will say Big Snacks was right. But if Sanders flashes in 2025, those picks become trade chips. A bold, savvy move. Shadur Sanders' rise is a modern NFL paradox. Stellar credentials, electric training, family legacy, yet slowed by a crowded roster and ambiguous front office vision. He's not just sprinting up hills in Miami, he's sprinting against time and organizational ambiguity. He can't afford a single misstep. One drop-off, poor rep, or lackluster playbook grasp, and he'll be the odd quarterback out.